Welcome to Fun Theory. Today we're looking at Captain America, how this guy punching Hitler on a comic book cover became a global icon. What can his 80-year journey tell us about American identity?
Well, Captain America's origins are really interesting because they're so tied to, the anxieties of the time. In 1941, America was on the verge of World War II. His creators, Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, were two young Jewish artists responding to the rise of Nazism, and their super American became, this powerful symbol against fascism.
Yeah, Captain America definitely has a better ring to it. That first cover with capsocking Hitler was a pretty bold statement, especially since the U.S. hadn't officially entered the war yet. It must have been powerful for a nation dealing with the threat of fascism.
It was definitely powerful propaganda that rallied support for the war. The comic was a huge success and it sold almost 1 million copies. But it also made Simon and Kirby targets. They got death threats and needed police protection. It shows just how divided American society was back then.
It's incredible that they were so brave to create such a politically charged character. But did a character so tied to World War II still work in peacetime?
Well, Captain America's popularity did decline after the war. Attempts to rebrand him as a commie smasher during the Cold War felt forced and didn't really connect with audiences. The world had changed, and Captain America needed to change too.
It seems like clinging to that wartime image made him feel outdated. So how did he come back?
Stan Lee brought Captain America back into the Marvel Universe in 1964, but this time he was a man out of time trying to adjust to a changed world. And that vulnerability resonated with readers. He wasn't just a symbol anymore, he was a character grappling with modern issues and his own past.
That's pretty smart. Now, the patriotic super soldier is dealing with social change and technology and, existential anxieties, and really fits the anxieties of the 1960s at a time of social upheaval and, questioning traditional values.
Exactly. This change allowed Captain America to move beyond his wartime origins. It made it possible for him to become an enduring figure in pop culture. He became a mirror reflecting America's changing identity.
And you can see that evolution in how his stories dealt with the anxieties of different eras. Take the Watergate scandal in the 1970s. Captain America, a symbol of American ideals. He starts to question the government he represents. That must have hit home for readers struggling with their own disillusionment.
The Watergate scandal really broke public trust in authority. Captain America's crisis of faith reflected that. It showed that even a symbol of American idealism could have doubts about power. It added depth to the character. He was acknowledging the imperfections of the systems he represents.
So Captain America's journey becomes a reflection of America's own self-examination. He's not just a superhero. He's a way to explore our own changing national identity. It's amazing how a comic book character can have so much cultural weight.
It's his ability to change with the times and to deal with real-world issues that makes him so interesting. He's like a barometer of American consciousness, always being redefined by the society he represents.
What about his global reach? He's not just an American icon anymore, is he? This is especially interesting considering the podcast is about fun theory, how playful ideas can have global impact.
It really is remarkable. A character rooted in American symbolism has become a global phenomenon. Marvel made a conscious effort to make him connect with different cultures. They tailored his, pop culture catch-up list in the movies to reflect national interests. This global appeal shows just how adaptable he is and how universal his values are.
That tailoring of content shows that they're aware of different cultural landscapes. But does it change what he means? Is he still fundamentally American, or has he become something more? Does appealing to a global audience mean you have to give up some of his original essence?
Those are really interesting questions. Maybe Captain America becomes a blank slate onto which different cultures can project their own values. Or maybe it's about finding the universal in the specific. Even though he's American, he represents ideals that appeal to people all over the world, like courage, justice, and standing up for what's right. It raises questions about how cultural symbols evolve and are reinterpreted in different contexts.
It's like how different countries have their own versions of folktales, but the basic themes of good and evil stay the same. It shows the power of storytelling to go beyond cultural boundaries. Going back to his evolution, how did Captain America's stance on social issues change?
Well, in the 1980s, Captain America's stories tackled issues like homophobia and vigilantism head-on. They showed that he was developing a more nuanced understanding of social justice. It shows a willingness to challenge the status quo, even when it meant questioning his own beliefs.
This evolution is especially relevant now when we're talking more about social justice than ever before.
These stories highlight that progress often requires discomfort. You have to confront your biases and assumptions. And the fact that Captain America is willing to do that, even as a symbol of tradition, makes him a more relatable and compelling figure.
He embodies the idea that growth means challenging your own beliefs. This fits with the idea of fun theory. Sometimes challenging norms and pushing boundaries can lead to positive change and new ways of thinking.
His journey reminds us that we're all capable of growth, even those who represent seemingly unchanging ideals. Captain America's evolution encourages us to keep reevaluating our own beliefs and to work towards a better and more inclusive future.
And Captain America's journey took him from the pages of comics to the big screen, which really shows his lasting appeal. His first appearance in film was a serial back in 1944, but he didn't become a true cinematic icon until the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The MCU really did an amazing job of bringing his complex history and evolving character to a modern audience. The films explore ideas like patriotism, sacrifice, and doing the right thing. And they've given us some of the most memorable moments in superhero movies, like that elevator fight scene in The Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the MCU definitely launched Captain America to a whole new level of global recognition, even beyond the comics. He's become like the face of the superhero genre. But he's not just in movies. He's in video games, animation, even music.
There's actually a Turkish film from the 1970s called Three Dev Atom, where Captain America fights Spider-Man. And the Kinks even have a song called Catch Me Now I'm Falling that uses Captain America as a metaphor for America's decline in the late 70s.
It's crazy to think that a character created as wartime propaganda is now such a big part of our collective imagination. He's a cultural icon that reflects how our understanding of heroism and American identity has changed. You see, his image used to sell everything from toys to clothes.
He's become this larger-than-life figure, a symbol of something much bigger than himself. I think this fascination comes from our need for heroes, figures who embody ideals that inspire us. This connects back to fun theory, the idea that playful, even silly concepts like a superhero can tap into these deep human needs and desires.
So what does it mean to be a hero in today's world? What challenges would a modern Captain America face?
Well, the world is a very different place than it was in 1941. We face new threats and new anxieties. A modern Captain America would have to navigate a world where good and evil aren't so clear-cut, where the enemy is harder to define, and the battles are fought on so many different fronts, including, in people's minds.
Yeah, he would need to be more than just a super soldier. He'd need to be someone who unites people, a bridge builder, a voice of reason in a world that feels increasingly divided. He'd have to confront issues like social inequality, climate change, and the loss of trust in institutions.
He would have to be a hero not just for America, but for the whole world. Maybe his biggest challenge would be inspiring hope in a world that often feels hopeless, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming challenges, we can still make a difference. This really aligns with the core idea of fun theory, finding creative and engaging ways to tackle serious problems.
Captain America, a symbol of the past, actually holds potential for the future. He reminds us that even in a world that's flawed and divided, there's still room for idealism, courage, and hope.
His story reminds us that we all have the potential for heroism to fight for what we believe in and to make the world a better place.
If you could create a Captain America for today, what values would he represent? What challenges would he face?
Think about the qualities you admire, the values you hold dear. Think about the challenges we face as a society, as a global community. What kind of hero do we need right now? What kind of hero can inspire us to build a better future?
Those are big questions. In the end, Captain America's story is really our story. It's about who we are, who we want to be, and the world we want to live in. His journey reflects our own journeys, our search for meaning, purpose, and connection in a complex world. And maybe by exploring these themes in a fun and engaging way, we can find inspiration to become the heroes of our own stories. So we've talked about how Captain America changed, along with America, reflecting the good times and the bad times. It's almost like you can see American history playing out in his comic books.
It is pretty interesting how he stays a symbol of hope, even when things are tough. Like, think about how he's always a man out of time, always dealing with a world that feels strange to him.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate immigrant, always trying to find his place in a new and confusing culture.
But he never gives up on America or what it stands for. He holds on to that hope for a better future.
He sees the good in us even when we can't see it in ourselves.
Maybe that's why he's so popular. He reminds us that even when we're feeling cynical and disappointed, we can still believe in something bigger than ourselves.
To fight for what's right, to defend the people who can't defend themselves, and to never give up on that dream of a fairer world.
Yeah, those are the values that Captain America represents. And they speak to people all over the world, no matter who they are or where they come from.
He goes beyond time and culture. He connects with something deep inside all of us, that desire for hope and meaning and a hero to show us the way.
As we wrap up this look at Captain America, I want to leave you with this thought. What if we all have a bit of Captain America in us?
What if we all have the potential to be symbols of hope, to fight for what we believe in, and to make a difference, even if it's a small one?
It's a tough thought, but it's also kind of empowering.
The power to change things isn't just in the hands of superheroes, it's in each of us.
Hold on to that potential. Fight for what you believe in. Stand up for those who need help, and never give up on the dream of a better world. Captain America's journey reminds us that we can all try to be better to make a difference and to bring a little more hope and fun to a world that really needs it.